We are pleased to be joined now by our last guests today who are from the Orchard Mall at Frameable Faces Photography and M10 Social, which is within the walls of the Orchard Mall. We appreciate having Ally and Doug Cohen on with us now on the Oakland County MegaCast. Thank you for being with us today.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Appreciate having you guys on. How have you guys been? How's your business been doing over the course of the pandemic?
It's been pretty good. I got to say, when we went into lockdown, when everybody was under the stay-at-home order, we moved everything home from the studio. We brought our computers home, and for the clients who we'd already photographed, we were able to continue to meet with them via Zoom and still do some business. But at the same time, we weren't able to take any more pictures for a few months there. So it did put a halt to our business, but thankfully, we were able to get a little bit of assistance from the government with the CARES Act, I suppose it fell under, to help keep us whole a little bit. And as soon as we reopened, there was a lot of pent up demand. So a lot of the people that would have been photographing with us during that time still came. So we've been busy since we reopened, and so thank goodness we were not impacted that negatively.
So I would imagine a lot of those customers are probably now the seniors, because this is a popular time for your senior pictures. Are you still doing the photographs inside, or are you trying to do them outside more?
So we try to normalize everything and give our seniors the same experience that we've always been able to give them. Most of our senior sessions, I say, are like a 70-30 hybrid of on location and in studio. So if we are doing a session in the studio, as an example, if we need to do the yearbook headshot for one of the local schools, we'll do it. Everybody that's in the studio will be masked up. The senior will be in front of the backdrop, way more than 6 feet away from anybody. And the senior will not be masked, because you can't have that in the yearbook photo. But, we're practicing the social distancing as we need to. And so, yes, we are photographing in the studio, but we're doing it in, I believe, the absolute safest way possible.
Yep.
Are you having any students who want some pictures with a mask on just to kind of remember this crazy time?
Absolutely. We just had someone in this past weekend to do a shot over at West Bloomfield High School, and she's making an album for her son, and the very last photo in the album is of her son masked up. I mean, these are unprecedented times, right. And this is something that these kids are going to always have and always remember. I mean, these kids are making history right now.
And that was a class of 2020 graduating senior, so there's been a little more overlap than normal, because some of the graduating class of 2020 seniors who might have waited to do their pictures in the spring weren't able to do that for a little while. So we're still photographing some class of 2020 seniors, even though we're already into the class of 2021 season. So there's a little bit of overlap, and we're photographing kids from both graduating classes right now.
Ally and Doug Cohen with us on the Oakland County MegaCast. They are the owners of Frameable Faces Photography and M10 Social. So we're familiar in the West Bloomfield area and on our stations here with Frameable Faces Photography. We've interviewed you before on Splash, and we've, of course, had you on the MegaCast as well. But M10 Social, that sounds like it's relatively new. Can you explain to us what M10 Social is and what you guys do with that?
Absolutely. So the way M10 Social kind of grew and happened was when we started this studio and opened up in the Orchard Mall 12 years ago. At that time, I had been coming off of a career in corporate sales, which I didn't really enjoy very much. Ally's the photographer here. So in 2008, when the recession hit and all of my accounts went bankrupt,
because they were all automotive.
Because they were all automotive, pretty much. The company I was working for, ultimately, they fired my boss first. And I knew I was going to be next. So that's when Ally said, when it happens, don't go look for something else. Let's build this together. And my experience had been in sales and, marketing and management and sales in the corporate world. But I'd called on and worked with businesses from the Fortune 20 all the way down to small mom and pop shops. So I took all of that experience and applied it to the studio. And that's been a big part of my role here from day one. Ally and I interact with our clients, and I help her on photo sessions with lighting. But when it comes to branding our studio and marketing it, it's all been social media. So I dove right in with digital marketing and social media right at pretty much the advent of social media. It really coincided with the opening of our studio. So little by little, I started building our community online, and people would start to notice and start to ask me if I could help them. And one by one, I started to take on some clients, and I decided, you know what, it's time to brand what I'm doing as a separate digital marketing entity, and that's where M10 Social was born. So I have a separate website, I have clients, and I'm digitally marketing for not just Frameable Faces, but for a few other companies in the area. So it's a lot of fun. It allows me to be creative, help other businesses grow. And what's interesting is that this year, I'm busier than ever because so many businesses were caught unprepared for a pivot to online business when this pandemic hit, and a lot of them are realizing that they need to up their game online. So it's been a great opportunity for me to help businesses reach out and connect with and continue to stay in business with their community and their clients.
Social media is so vital during this pandemic for businesses, but if you had someone prior to this with no social media experience, what do you tell them about how to use it and which platforms are the best?
Well, in terms of how to use it, I always recommend that somebody get used to using it as a consumer of social media before they even think about, well, not necessarily before, but at least in concert with doing it as a creator and as a brand that's posting out a marketing message online. Because if you don't kind of understand as an end user how people interact on social media and how to experience it as an end user, it's going to be tougher for you to understand maybe what the value is and how it works as a brand. And then as you start to learn that, and you bring in somebody like me who has the expertise to help you craft a message and start to build a community online, you need to do it where your demographics make sense. So, if you're looking to, if the demographics of your customer base are teenagers, you're not going to make Facebook your prime and only platform because that's where the parents are, not where the kids are. The kids are over on Snapchat, Instagram, and TikTok. So you need to kind of be where your customers are. I would say not necessarily put all your eggs in one basket. Use a couple of platforms depending on, who's where. And also treat your social media game as a means for driving some traffic to your owned online assets, your website, your blog, maybe an email newsletter, the things that you own.
Ally and Doug Cohen with us on the Oakland County MegaCast. Just a few more minutes with the two of you. So before we let you go, as you bring in more clients for the photography side over the summer, and as those clients prepare to come in for their photography sessions on site at the Orchard Mall or out in the field, what should they be prepared for now that maybe they weren't needing to be prepared for previously before the pandemic as they get ready to go to these appointments?
I think that what most people are doing and will continue to do is masks to come into the mall for sure. Outside, it's a little bit easier because it's rare that when we're photographing a high school senior, as an example, that there's more than 10 people. And I photograph very far away. And even when you're lighting, you're not super close and you're masked.
Yeah, we don't need to be right on top of somebody to photograph them outside. So it's pretty safe outdoors.
Yeah.
Indoors, they may have to take some, they may have to consider who's involved. If they have elderly folks, if they're doing a multi-generational shoot, they may want to decide if being indoors is even the best move. Like maybe we should, while the weather's nice, we should consider doing it outdoors. But other than that, it's like Ally said at the beginning, the way we approach it has not been that drastically impacted. I mean, unless you were going to try to do a big group inside,
family photo, right?
That could be a problem. But otherwise, we're able to still do pretty much everything we were able to do before. And actually, I just want to throw in that we're able to do more than we were able to do before, because another thing we've done is art and frame has opened up their second location here inside of our studio. So that's another option that we offer. Brad Gordon has a store, a framing shop at Maple and Cranbrook, and he has now moved into our studio. So we have framing in-house as well with art and frame. So we've been really busy trying to up our game and do some planning and really be ready to roll when things reopened, and it's worked out pretty well so far.
Mm-hmm.
Doug, Ally, we thank you for being with us. Before we let you go, anything else that you'd like our audience to know, or any other points you'd like to touch on today?
Just visit frameablefaces.com. I'm going to do a shameless plug or two, but we also have a podcast now, the Doug and Ally Morning Show podcast.
It's very fun,
which is a lot of fun, and there's a local flavor to it, and it's we have special guests every now and then, and you can get it on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple, Google, anywhere you want, pretty much. Doug and Ally Morning Show podcast. So we're all over the place. Obviously, as I said before, with M10 Social and my approach, we're very much digital marketing and social media savvy. So you can connect with Frameable Faces pretty much anywhere you want online, and come see us at the mall.
Well, Doug, Ally, yes, absolutely. Ally, Doug, we thank you for being with us today.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for having us. Appreciate it.
Ally and Doug Cohen with us from Frameable Faces and M10 Social on the Oakland County MegaCast.